I'm Catherine Flashner, and this is The Truth Is, a podcast about discovering what it means to live your truth. Even when it's messy, when it unravels the plans you thought you had, and invites you to step into the unknown. Each week, we explore practices, stories, and conversations that illuminate the ways we find and follow our own path. This is a space to slow down, ask questions, and uncover what's been quietly waiting inside of you. If it resonates, subscribing, following, and engaging with the show really supports me in bringing more people into the conversation. Thank you for being here. Welcome to The Truth Is. Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Truth Is. I'm Catherine, your host, and today I'm meeting you in what I want to call spring space, a little moment of spring space. I could say spring break, but I'm not sitting on a beach somewhere. But I am taking a little space this week, and I want to offer you the same. And so I'll talk for a few minutes, and then I'm going to lead us through what could be called a guided meditation. It's quite literally that, but I want it to feel accessible to one, if you've never quote unquote meditated before. Think of it as a moment to just be with yourself and your experience and your truth in this moment. And two, I want you to be able to take it anywhere. So if you're listening to me on a walk, if you're listening to me cooking, if you're listening to me driving in your car, fabulous. And if you have the space to sit down, to lay down for 10 minutes, fabulous. But before we get into that, I'll say briefly, it's so funny how I find that again and again, one of the gifts of hosting this show and producing this show is that I get to be the student of the stories and the wisdom from my guests. And usually they will share like a nugget with me from something they've learned, a revelation they've had about what it means to live true to themselves. And then I swear to you, so often lately, I am finding myself like brought to my knees, learning that lesson for myself like a week later. And it's come up so funnily lately. This show, I love to explore like where we've inherited assumptions, maybe from a young age or throughout formative experience, that's like assuming how we should be and what we should be and what success looks like in our lives. And like there's this one way to live. And the stories of my guests hopefully continue to expose that no, we get to decide for ourselves and we get to discover our path and our way through things and then share that with others. And it's so interesting. I spoke about this in my last solo episode a few weeks ago, but I came up on a year leaving the corporate world to pursue this new path professionally. And over the last few weeks, I've realized, whoa, I left that world and that way of being to not only pursue something very different, but to discover a new way of being. And what I realized and caught myself in is just how exhausted I was yet again. Like, one of the many reasons I chose to leave that is I was just so burned out of operating nonstop, and really losing a sense of vitality in the rest of my life. And I kind of caught myself coming up on here. It was like, wait a second. The whole point of choosing differently was to feel different in your life and to discover a new sense of balance and ease in the pursuit of something that you're ambitious about. And I caught myself, we talk about this idea of inheriting assumptions about who I need to be in the world and in my life. And I caught myself, I was like, wow, you're living in that same state of nonstop hustle and hypervigilance. And so with that, I've really started to think about like, okay, what is a little bit more breathing room and space in the pursuit of this new chapter look like? And can I work the muscle of trying it differently, and hopefully over time establishing some trust that I can ease up on the gas a little bit and still proceed to whatever the destination ends up being. Much more to say on that, but right now, in the space I've given myself this week, I can feel the easefulness in my body. I can feel the openness versus the tightness. And so, what a moment to check back in with like how you are operating. Where can you give yourself a little bit more space, a little bit more ease, and trust that that's such a necessary ingredient. Someone asked me the other day where the truth is comes from and what my like fascination with truth is really all about. And as daunted as I am by the title of my podcast, quite frequently, my obsession with truth came from an experience that was opened up to me through my early training as an actor. And in this technique I've studied for years and years, the very beginning principle of it. So the technique is called the Meisner technique, but all is worth knowing about it for this is that the thesis of the technique is to live truthfully under imagined circumstances, being the fiction of acting. But for the sake of this discussion, living truthfully, like what is that experience? And the foundational exercise in that training is that you are standing across from a partner in a theater and you're just repeating what you feel is the truth of the moment. It might be something that I feel. It might be something that I see on the person standing across from me. And so you do this really rote exercise that can sound something like this. It could be two people saying, "You seem sad." And then the other person can respond, "Yeah, I feel sad," or "I don't feel sad." And then it could be someone saying, "I'm scared." And then the person repeats, "You're scared." It's called repetition. And it just volleys back and forth the felt sense of truth in the moment. And what really opened up for me through that is like, oh, yeah, we can intellectualize fact and truth, at the level of the brain, at the level of the intellect. But what I was really curious about is the sensation of what feels true and revealing about me that has a little bit less to do with my thinking brain. It's something I can just feel. And so, to pull the thread to life now, that curiosity has remained. It's like, what feels true to me right now? Can I sense it? Can I feel it? Maybe I don't even have words for it. And then if I honor that, if I identify that, maybe I share it with myself or with someone else, then what happens? And through that work, I kind of discovered like, oh, when I can name what feels true, it moves into something else. And maybe sadness becomes anger, or anger becomes relief, and relief becomes joy. Like, I think we all have the sense that when we don't harbor the emotional life within us, it can express itself and evolve into something else. And so, all that to say, in a sense, it is that simple, my curiosity around it. When we can honor what's true for us, moment to moment, the moments of our lives make up the days, the weeks, the months, the years. When we honor that sense of truth, when we follow it, when we dare to speak it, what happens? What happens? And in the exact same vein, the other reflection I want to share is I've taken the space that I needed to like rediscover my brain and my being the last week or so, is I've come to really have an appreciation for all of it. What do I mean by all of it? I want to offer a very, very simple graphic, which maybe I'll post on Instagram. It's like the simplest thing. I've thought about getting a tattoo of it. It comes from my this woman that taught me how to be a yoga teacher. Jen Silvera is her name. And now you don't have to be a yoga practitioner to try this on, but there's this idea in a yoga practice and in many things where we want alignment. You hear the word alignment all the time. In yoga, it can be brought to like the physical body. I want to pull my shoulders back. I want to stand in alignment in my body. And then the analogy of it is I want alignment in my life. I want to be myself. I want to be aligned with my values, where I'm headed, this idea of alignment. We hear a lot about it in our culture. And so the visual that I want to share, and I'll find a way to share it, maybe in a PDF in the episode, or check my Instagram, I'll share it, is like a straight line. Yeah, if you can see me right now in the video, straight line up and down. That's the alignment. There's this idea of true north alignment, what we're always striving for. So think of the straight line. And then Jen, I'll never forget it. This was back in 2019. She drew the straight line. She goes, okay, so this is what we're going for. And then she drew a messy squiggle over the line. I have paper in front of me. I'm going to show you. Wow. I wasn't going to post the video for this little episode, but now I'm going to. Okay. Straight line, right? You can see that straight line with my pencil. And then she goes, so that's what we're going for. That's the goal. And then she drew this squiggle. Okay. Here's the squiggle. Think of like a messy S or a money sign over the straight line. She goes, but this is life. I'll never forget it. She goes, we're always going for the alignment, and we are human. And life is going to have us whacked out of alignment, whacked out of who we are. You know, it's like whether it's as small as waking up on the wrong side of the bed and being sleep deprived and being on your phone too much, like that's me 70% of the time, you're over here, or you had a huge life rupture, you lose someone you love, you go through a breakup, you lose a job, like then all of a sudden you're over here. Okay. And it doesn't always have to be an external thing, right? But life is going to drag us off of our center all the time. I've had that constantly this year. You know, I had this romantic notion that, okay, I'll leave the job that I'm burned out from and everything will lock into place. Not the truth. It's like wherever you go, there you are. I've had to confront so much of like my own patterning and self-sabotaging and self-isolating and all of it. Doesn't matter what I'm doing on the outside. I'm still me and I'm still going to throw myself off. So sometimes I'm way out here. The practice, the invitation is to find your way back to center. Why do I bring this up? Why do I bring it up now? Because this idea of the true path, the authentic path, the option that I don't think is messaged to us on the table too often is to embrace it all. I've come to appreciate it all, certainly over the arc of the last year in my life. And as I look back, all of it, I've come to appreciate the times when I'm way off of center, spiraling out, because now as I make my way back, as I ground back into who I am, as I find my way back to me, I can feel the difference. And so I've come, I think, to start to open the aperture to like, oh, it all is relevant. It's all a part of this path of learning the truth of who we are and pulling that thread of self-discovery and self-trust so that we can live our lives as ourselves and create our lives as ourselves. That is not a picture perfect story. That means embracing and honoring all of it, all of the mess, all of the dysregulation, all of the spiraling, so that we can see the difference and discern the difference and integrate all of the wisdom that comes with like being way out of alignment. So with that, I've done enough talking at you. And what I want to offer you now is a little space just for you to be with you, just for you to bring some awareness to like your truth in this present moment. So, welcome to some spring space. Wherever you are, I'm going to lead it a little bit like you're sitting down. And here's an idea. You can take it with whatever you're doing, or if you want to pause this and come back to it when you can sit in the grass or in your own home, please do. But wherever you are, just start to take notice of where your 2 feet are. If you're sitting in a chair, if you're walking, if you're in your car, just feel your 2 feet. Maybe you lift and spread your toes, wiggle your toes, and just notice the connection with your feet and what's beneath them. You can take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, empty out. A few more like that. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. If you're sitting or standing, on your next breath in, just sit up. Stand up a little taller, like head slightly towards sky. You could roll your shoulders up by your ears, then let them come down your back. If you're in a place where you could gently shut your eyes, that's on the table, or just let your gaze be soft. If you're outside, maybe let your gaze just like look at what's around you. Notice if you can bring your attention to your feet, their contact with what's underneath them. Like bring your attention, your awareness to your breath coming in your nose, down your throat and your lungs, and out the same way it came in. Now, there's nothing to get right about this practice. It's just a practice of noticing, orienting your attention back to you, just starting with your physical body, your feet on the ground, your breath moving in and out of your body. And then can you just bring your awareness to soften the muscles in your face, let your jawbone go. Let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. Let your eyes relax in their eye sockets, whether they're opened or closed. The muscles around your eyes. Let these few moments be a space of doing nothing. Like all there is to do is be and breathe. I like to think of the visual of like you shake a snow globe up, everything's fluttering around. Let this practice just start to let everything land on the ground. Instead of letting your thoughts, your thinking mind drag you into it, just notice the thoughts like passing clouds over your head. And feel the ground underneath you. And just ask yourself, what's true for me right now, in this moment? Is there a feeling present? A physical sensation? Just name it and then let it go. And let your attention come back to the next breath in and the next breath out. And then put your attention on your ears and take in any sounds right around you. Notice the sound of my voice in your headphones or out here. Can you notice the sounds in the room or in the space around you? And can you bring your awareness to the space outside, beyond what's right around you? A distant sound. Just awareness of all of that. Like none of that needs to be shut out. Let it all be an anchor to where you are right now, this moment. So much of us, our thinking mind wants to live in the future and the past. Let this practice, this awareness, just be an anchor to right here, right now. The space right now where there's nothing to prove, nothing to do. Just be. And from this place of observing how you feel in this moment, maybe you have a felt sense that you're maybe out on that squiggly line somewhere, maybe in one part of your life. Part that feels unresolved or misaligned, particularly challenging, prickly. And see if you can sense as you breathe in down the center line of your body, throat, chest, gut, that simultaneously you can feel that sense of you. Like, oh yeah, I'm out on that squiggle, disintegrated over there. But here I can feel me. I can feel my feet on the ground. Can feel who I am, the center line of my body. That sense that I'm going to be okay. That I am foundationally okay. That I've gotten through everything that life has brought me, handed me to this present moment. And so, yeah, I can handle this moment right before me. Noticing that maybe both are simultaneously true. I can feel the alignment, the connection to who I am as I deal with this moment of growth. And it's in this space right here that I can return to anytime, the space within me where I get to access this deeper sense of who I am, this reminder that I've got me, and this sense of trust that I will know the next step to take. And then right from here, check back in. How do you feel right now? What's present for you right now? Maybe it's the same as before, maybe it's changed. give yourself the gift of truth in your answer. And notice if there's any sense of calm. Sense of you. And I'm going to leave you right here. And when you're ready, you can take a few breaths to re-enter your day from this felt sense of you, uniquely and powerfully you. Thank you for meeting me here in a little bit of space. I'll see you next week on The Truth Is. I hope you leave this episode with something that stays with you, a question worth holding or an insight worth following. If this conversation resonated, subscribing or sharing the episode helps bring more people into the conversation. And connect with The Truth Is at The Truth Is Podcast on Instagram. Special thanks to the people who make this show possible. Editing by Dan Kroll. Video production and editing by Anton LaPlume. Music by Will Savino. Visual identity by Sarah Gaynor and Jonathan Bush. And guidance from my friend and advisor, Natalie Tulloch. I'm Catherine Flashner. Thank you for listening to The Truth Is.